here we go, back in AMS2 then. Really exciting week in AMS2 this week as we got a huge update from Reiza on what we can expect for AMS2 moving forward throughout 2026. As always, if at any point you find yourself liking this video, please remember to hit the like button. If you want to see more content like this and support the channel, please remember to hit the subscribe button. It really helps me out. Another really quick point, things might sound a little bit different in this video, and the reason for that is I've moved away from using CapCut as my editing tool to using DaVinci Resolve, so it doesn't have the same kind of audio recording features. So in case you were wondering why the hell does this guy sound different yet again, that's the reason why. But anyway, so I'm not going to go through each and every point because there's a lot of stuff in there, and honestly you'd be better off just looking at it yourself. As someone said to me in one of the discords, it was just a whole lot of word salad, which is pretty much true. There was a lot of information in there, and to be honest it was actually quite overwhelming. But one of the main things in there, or one of the first points in there, is improvements to the AI racecraft, which I'm honestly so excited about. AMS2 for me is already the gold standard when it comes to offline AI racing, so any improvements made to the AI is just another step in the right direction. I mean, in this video I decided to take out this BMW M3 for a quick 6-lap sprint around Donington, and honestly this race was so much fun to drive. The AI was super aggressive, super competitive, had no problems getting their elbows out. They really don't mind racing each other. They actively defend their lines and move around, so they're not just easy to bully off the track. Honestly, they're already in such a good place, and when we get to a fully fledged career mode for AMS2 with this AI and an even further improved version of this AI, I honestly just cannot wait for that. The other thing which I'm really excited for as well is the ability to save and resume races that are already in progress. So if you're someone who likes to do a little bit of endurance racing, but you're in the middle of a race and something comes up and you need to dip out for whatever reason, it's going to be absolutely amazing to have the ability to just hit save, jump out of the rig, go and do whatever you need to do, or maybe come back a day or a week later and just jump back in where you left off. I guess the reason why they're looking to do this now is because it probably starts to lay the foundations for whatever the career mode looks like when that's released. As well as that, they're looking to make some pretty big improvements on the multiplayer front, so obviously right now we have things like LFM, which is absolutely fantastic, but it means that you have to go to a third-party website, enter a race, wait for the server to go live, copy the details, and join it through the UI. So having that integrated directly into the game UI is going to be an absolute game changer. And hopefully with that as well, we start to see bigger numbers when it comes to LFM. I honestly think that the online experience in AMS2 is really good. The servers are always really good, they're always really stable, and generally the netcode seems fairly okay. Also, it seems like we're getting a new HUD, which I could take it or leave it at the moment. I don't think the HUD is actually too bad, to be fair. I mean, it's definitely not as nice as some of the others out there, such as Rensport or LMU, but it's nice enough. Something which they touch on that I'm really excited for is it's the part about further simulation improvements. So this includes things like improvements to tyre damage properties, wind simulation, dynamic weather and track improvements. So we don't know what that means exactly, but imagine if you were able to have almost localized weather, so in one corner of the track you've got maybe a bit of light drizzle, but everywhere else it's dry. And then there's other things like limited tyre sets, tow and repair, which is probably quite an important thing for the online aspect. Breakdowns and limited spare parts, that's an interesting one. It's certainly a different level of realism to what we get in other sims. And then even on top of that as well, they seem to be looking at doing different types of technical and sporting regulations, which again is something that you don't get anywhere else. So that's different qualifying formats, different race formats, virtual safety cars, parc fermé rules. I mean, the list goes on. I won't go through them all, but definitely some interesting ideas. I can imagine that for people who run leagues, the thought of this is quite exciting, to be able to really mix them up, do different types of championships and run different kind of events, rather than just the same old formats that we're used to that every other sim does. And then I think the last really big main thing to mention from the update is just what they said around the mod support. Now, obviously AMS2 at this point has really great mod support, not to the same extent that AC does, but there's still a very healthy modding community in AMS2. And even though they're not looking to move towards something that makes the game completely moddable, what they are looking to do is just try and remove some of the barriers and some of the friction points to make modding a little bit easier. Now, sadly, they didn't give any major information away about what the career mode would look like, but what they did say is that it's likely to appear in the latter half of 2026, which I'm really excited for. Obviously with the news still fresh in our minds about AC Evo and their decision to move away from whatever their original implementation of what career mode would be, such as removing the experience, removing the in-game currency, In my mind, it's a really odd decision by Kunos to do this because all the things that they're looking at removing is kind of all the things that everyone wants. Just those little silly dopamine hits. What I think we don't want is just another hot lapping simulator. I went over this in my previous video on AC Evo. If you want to go and check it out, I'll leave a link to it in the description below. But anyway, I'm heavily digressing now. It's good to know that we're still going to get some kind of career mode for people who play on PC, because for a lot of us who are on PC, that's exactly the experience we're missing. We've got access to a lot of sims and they all do multiplayer in some version, but there's such a huge gap in the market for a really well thought out, fully fledged career mode for PC sims. I think a lot of people were hoping that Project Motor Racing was going to fill that gap, and there's still a very real possibility that it will do, but unfortunately PMR still needs quite a bit of work to get it up to the level that everyone, including the developers, want it to be at. They're obviously making really great progress, but it's going to take a little while, so until then, we've got AMS2 to keep us busy. Quite honestly, I'm absolutely fine with that. I think all things considered, AMS2 is by far my favourite sim out there today. The amount of content that's on offer, the modability, the custom force feedback again is such a nice feature if you want to be able to tweak how it feels in your hands. I mean, I get that the physics is still a little bit of a contention point, but as we continue throughout 2026, they will be continued to be refined. I think eventually we will get away from this notion of a slidey or floaty feeling. So if you're unhappy with the news from AC Evo about the removal of career mode, AMS2 might just have you covered throughout 2026. If you don't own it yet and you've been thinking about it, add it to your wish list. It generally always goes on a pretty decent discount around Steam sale times, so definitely the best time to pick it up then with a couple of content packs depending on what you're interested in. As always, if you made it this far into the video, thank you very much for sitting and listening to me waffle. I really appreciate it. If you've enjoyed it, please remember to hit the like button, and if you want to see more content like this, please hit the subscribe button. It would really mean a lot to me. But until next time, take it easy and I will see you on the track.